It's December 2009 in Ukraine, and 25-year-old chemistry student Vladimir Likonos has a weird habit. He likes dipping his chewing gum in citric acid to make it extra sour. Now, I know what you're thinking. What the hell is citric acid? It's basically the same white powder that makes sour candy sour, like what's in Warheads or sour gummy bears. Some people actually buy pure citric acid to make their own super sour snacks. Weird? Absolutely. So today Vladimir is sitting at his computer, probably cramming for exams, when he decides he wants some gum. He reaches for what he thinks is citric acid on his messy desk, but here's the problem. This chemistry nerd keeps his snack supplies right next to his chemical compounds from experiments. In the dim light, he grabs the wrong container. Instead of citric acid, he coats his gum with some different powder that you'll find out what it was. He pops the gum in his mouth and starts chewing. For a few seconds, everything's normal. Just a guy enjoying his weirdly modified snack. Then he bites down. Boom! The chewing gum detonates inside his mouth like a tiny bomb. The blast is so intense it completely destroys his lower jaw and rips apart most of his lower face. His mouth basically ceases to exist. His mother hears a loud pop from his room and runs in to find Vladimir slumped on the floor. His face, well, there's not much face left. The scene is so horrific that when emergency crews arrive, they need to call a bomb squad to deal with the remaining chemicals before they can even approach. The investigation reveals about 100 grams of explosive powder sitting right next to his citric acid container. Despite their efforts, Vladimir's injuries are beyond saving. He becomes probably the first person in history to accidentally blow up his own mouth with chewing gum. But if you think that's bad, wait until you hear about our next disaster. It's 2014 in Foshan, China, and Chef Peng Fan is about to learn why you should never cook snake. Not because you can't eat it, but because, well, let's see what happens. Peng specializes in cobra soup made from Indo-Chinese spitting cobras. Yeah, people actually eat snake soup. It's considered a delicacy in some parts in Asia. So, Peng's in his kitchen starting his daily routine. He pulls out a live cobra from storage. This thing is very much alive and very much pissed off about being dinner. He grabs the snake firmly and places it on his cutting board. With one swift blow, he strikes the cobra's head to stun it, then takes his knife and cleanly separates the head from the body. The severed head goes to one side of his workplace while he focuses on the body. He methodically cuts the meat into chunks, seasoning it as it goes. The meat goes into a pot with broth and spices, slowly simmering into the soup his customers love. Everything's going perfectly normal. Just another day of snake cooking. 20 minutes later, after preparing the soup, Peng starts cleaning up his workspace. He reaches for the supposedly dead snake head to toss it in the trash. The moment his hand gets close, the decapitated snake head snaps shut on his fingers like a steel trap and injects a huge amount of venom into his body. Instantly, he starts screaming as the neurotoxin enters his bloodstream. The diners in the restaurant hear the chaos erupting from the kitchen and immediately call for help. His staff rushes him to the hospital, but the venom works faster than their car can drive, and he passes away. But how the hell can a decapitated head of a snake, more than 20 minutes old, bite him? Let's understand. Here's a terrifying truth. Snake bite reflexes stay active for up to an hour after decapitation. The severed head was essentially a delayed booby trap, waiting for the perfect moment to get its revenge. So, next time you're cooking exotic venomous animals, remember to eat the head first. Just kidding. Okay, now let's see some brutality. It's December 23rd, 2010, at Purana Moldings Factory in England, and 54-year-old Alan Catterall is about to experience something no one would have expected. Alan's a senior supervisor who worked at this factory for 12 years. He knows these machines inside and out. Today, he's doing routine maintenance on one of their massive industrial ovens. Think of it like a giant metal chamber that gets hot enough to melt plastic. The oven's been acting up. There's a fault in the guide rail bearing that needs fixing. So, Alan does what any experienced maintenance guy would do. He climbs inside the oven to inspect the problem and clean it out. It's switched off. It's cool. Just another day at work. While Alan's inside working, his colleague notices the oven is powered down and thinks the maintenance is finished. Not knowing Alan is still inside the massive chamber, he reactivates the machine. The moment the power comes back on, the oven's safety system kicks in. The heavy doors automatically slam shut and lock from the outside. Then the heating cycle begins. The oven starts climbing toward 280 degrees Celsius. That's over 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Alan suddenly realizes he's trapped inside a giant metal box that's rapidly turning into a furnace. There's no internal release button, no emergency escape hatch, no way to stop the cycle from inside. He's essentially been sealed inside what's about to become his own crematorium. The temperature climbs higher and higher. Thick smoke starts filling the chamber as the extreme heat overwhelms Alan's body. He's being cooked alive with no way out, while his coworkers outside have no idea what's happening inside. By the time someone notices smoke coming from the oven and manages to shut it down and open the doors, it's far too late. Alan is found inside, already gone. But how does someone just get locked inside an industrial oven and cooked to death? Here's the terrifying part. This factory had zero safety protocols. No training for oven maintenance, no written safety procedures, no emergency releases, and no warning signs about automatic activation. It was basically a death trap waiting to happen. The company was later found legally responsible for Alan's death, one of the first major corporate accountability cases under UK law. Alan was a father of 3. He missed his son's wedding and never got to meet his newborn grandson. But this next case will shock you even more. It's June 2012 in Nashville, and 47-year-old Jay Luther, co-owner of Germantown Cafe East, is about to walk into his restaurant's freezer for what should be a simple 2-minute check. But let's see what happens. Jay's having a nightmare weekend. The power went out, and he's desperately trying to save his restaurant's perishables. So he does what any smart restaurant owner would do. He loads massive blocks of dry ice into his walk-in freezer to keep everything frozen. Problem solved, right? Sunday night, Jay decides to check on the dry ice levels. He walks into the walk-in freezer like he's done thousands of times before. It's routine, should maybe take 2 minutes. He steps into the metal chamber to inspect the dry ice blocks. As he turns to leave, the heavy door slams shut behind him. He reaches for the internal safety latch to push his way out, but there's a problem. The thing's been broken for weeks, and nobody bothered to fix it. Jay is now trapped inside a metal box that's rapidly filling with an invisible killer. Here's what Jay doesn't realize yet. Dry ice doesn't just keep things cold, it sublimates into carbon dioxide gas. And that gas is heavier than air, so it sinks to the bottom of enclosed spaces and pushes out all the oxygen. Jay is essentially locked inside a chamber that's slowly replacing breathable air with suffocating gas. At first, Jay probably thinks this is just a temporary inconvenience. He bangs on the door, shouts for help, but the freezer has soundproof insulation. His screams can't escape the metal tomb he's trapped in. Then Jay starts feeling dizzy. His breathing becomes labored. That's when the horrible truth hits him. He's not just trapped, he's being slowly suffocated by invisible gas. The oxygen level is dropping below 10%, while carbon dioxide climbs above 60%. In desperation, Jay triggers the restaurant's burglar alarm using an emergency panic button. Police arrive within minutes and see the building is dark and locked. They assume it's a false alarm and leave. Jay is still alive when they come and go, just a few inches of insulated metal away from rescue. For hours, Jay fights for his life in that freezing metal box. His body temperature drops while the toxic gas continues replacing oxygen. Eventually, his brain and lungs start shutting down from lack of oxygen. The next morning, staff find lifeless Jay curled in on the freezer floor. Clutching the door handle, his face is frozen in agony, fingernails broken from desperately scraping at the door. The thermometer still reads -10 degrees Celsius. If this story hit you hard, the next one's even worse. Smash that like button if you want more videos like this. It really helps the channel grow.